Hey guys, it's Geoffrey Lynn. A question I get a lot is, how do I stay motivated, or better yet, how do I push myself to do things that are difficult and even dangerous, such as traveling? And one of the answers is that saying, live like you were dying, but my variation is more, live like you don't know when's the next time you're going to be well enough to do something. And this little slight difference there is that live like you're dying is it's a bit more negative and it's a bit more final. But for those of us with chronic illnesses, it's more of a marathon, a very grueling marathon, maybe even more like a triathlon or Ironman kind of body punishing ordeal. And you can't just live like you're dying and go reckless, because if you think you're gonna die, there's not a whole lot to live for. And even if you do have a chronic illness and you don't feel like you have a lot to live for, you're not necessarily dying, and that means you're just going to have to suffer even more later. So it's more about just being appreciative of every moment that you're in, because your chronic illness prevents you from doing so much. And the health of those of us with chronic illnesses are so unpredictable, so random, that we actually don't know when's the next time we're going to be able to do something, even be out, or for me, even like waking up at the same hour every day has never happened. I'm just as likely to wake up at 3 in the morning or 3 in the evening, and can't really plan for anything, and a lot of times have to cancel or go back halfway into a trip or something like that. So that's what I'm going to talk about in this video.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about. Wait!
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boy.
Hey, it's Geoffrey Lynn. So I've been here in Paris for the last 48 hours and just about to head out to Holland. Just want to talk about that feeling of not necessarily living like you're dying, but living like you don't know when you're going to be healthy enough to do something again. And the difference, again, is one is more final and permanent and more negative, and the second one, living like you don't know when you're going to do something again, is slightly more hopeful, but it's also about playing the long game and having the stamina and planning ahead. So the first thing that I think about is consequences. Those of us with chronic illnesses have to worry about so many consequences of things that we do, or things that we just have to be mindful for, and even when we forget to prepare enough, whether it's medications or being in certain environments, or even like watching the weather, those can have consequences. And same thing for if you try to live like you're dying and be reckless, or try to do everything at the same time, you're going to burn yourself out very quickly, especially as, I guess, as the name Spoonie implies, we have such a limited amount of energy that correctly managing our energy levels and planning ahead and foreseeing consequences and dealing with all that is especially important. And consequences matter to us because with chronic illness, you're going to have to continue to live through it with it every single day. It's not like it's going to end when you die in a week or 6 months or however long the doctor gives you. It's basically an unknown battle of infinite length that we have to fight through. Obviously, none of us are going to survive forever, and nobody gets out of mortal life alive. But living like every moment is precious is very important, because even if you are healthier and believe you can do it again. You never know what things are going to transpire in life, and you don't know what other things are going to get in the way. So it's that balance of trying to do everything you can in the moment when the opportunity presents itself, instead of using your illness as an excuse to be scared, but pushing it to the limit where you're not going to make your chronic illness significantly worse. I think it's okay to do stuff that wears you out or sets your illness back a couple days or a couple weeks or even a couple months. That often happens to me. But the way I justify it is, well, even if I stay home, locked in my room, trying to be safe from everything out in the world instead of traveling or go out and doing work, physically exhausting, filming work, I'm still going to get sick just because my chronic illness is I'm literally allergic to everything in the world. Everything is toxic, even whether that's a couple days away. So whether if I'm inside or outside, I can't hide from everything, and I'm going to react, and I'm going to have really bad days even at home. And in most of my life, for like 6 years, most of that time has been at home. So anytime I can get out, I try to take the advantage to do that. Or even if I'm at home and I get to communicate with somebody, learn something, I take every opportunity I can get, because I literally don't know when I'm going to have the energy to do that, and if I do, if I'm going to have the mental clarity, and if other situations are going to allow it. So next thing I want to talk about is a negative mindset. The idea that living like you're dying is good, that it communicates you're going to want to take advantage of every moment and don't let things slip by or leave things unsaid. But it's also more of a pessimistic view, wrapped in like I guess people pretend to try to make it positive or making a bad situation a little bit better. But if you're not actually dying, then don't think like that, because the pessimistic attitude can be self-fulfilling. You might stop doing things to help yourself, or try things that you shouldn't really try just because you're so negative about it. And so many people have come to me with that negative attitude, saying they're going to die, and I'm thinking, you're maybe 10% as bad as I was at my worst, and I made it through. It's just you haven't dealt with something this difficult before, and that's why you're freaking out, or thinking that you're going to die is in fact a little bit easier than having to live through with all the sufferings of chronic illness and the torture, because it basically is torture to suffer every moment of every single day and have it be chaotic and not really know what to expect. That's what people who do professional torture do, is they make it unpredictable, night to day to night, really get to sleep, and then sometimes they turn out the lights or have too much noise, and some of us have had noise sensitivities, and it's kind of like the same thing of being blasted with too much noise, or like it said, sometimes we're just so sick that we don't really get enough sleep for days or weeks or months, and that's a kind of torture also. But again, you don't want to be overly negative. You do want to still do everything that you're supposed to do and give yourself the best chance possible. So don't be overly reckless. Just kind of push yourself to a limit and know from which point you can recover from, even if it takes a couple days or weeks. Because if your chronic illness is really bad, like mine, anything you do, even if you don't do anything, you're gonna get sick and have to recover from it. So knowing how to take a hit and get back up, that's a really important skill to have. The key point about living like you don't know when you're going to be healthy enough to do something again, is just being in the moment as much as possible and take advantage of every opportunity that you can, using every lucid, conscious moment that you have, even if you're sick. A lot of people use not feeling well as an excuse, but I've literally never had a decent moment in my life where I'm not having multiple severe symptoms going on at the same time. Even right now, I have a major migraine, I have inflammations, my nose sinuses are pushing in, and my chest is a little bit tight, but I don't even notice those things because I'm just so used to going out and doing stuff when I'm feeling imperfect. So don't let perfection and feeling great be your excuse to not do something, because for most things you might not have that chance to do it again. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to come here again, even though I am getting better and better, and hopefully I can, but maybe I'll want to do something else. From a positive side, the healthier I get, that means I can go to places that aren't as clean, aren't as developed, or just further, that takes more energy to travel to instead of a direct flight from LA. So if you feel like you'll have another chance, or just trying to save yourself for that perfect moment, both of those things aren't good, because life happens. You might have some positive news or some negative news, or you might just be lazy and never do it again. And sometimes things happen that, a lot of times things happen that are out of your control. So when you can control it and make a decision and do something and grow yourself, that's always a good thing.